The argument is already over, but your heartbeat remains fast. The skin feels hot. Because you were insulted, you were dismissed, and you said nothing. Suddenly, these thoughts strike. They make a lethal comeback, and your mind automatically constructs a sharp counterattack. It is brilliant, but it is devastating. As the moment is already dead, the elevator is already descended, the opponent is already gone. Strangely, your mind waited for the perfect moment, and it watched you fail in the real moment. It watched you lose status. But now, in silence, it speaks. Psychology calls this staircase wit. It is a neural coup. Your mind prefers perfection. But perfection is the enemy of execution. Tonight, we open the forensic dossier. We expose the biological damage of your wit. And the investigation begins now. Imagine, you are standing in a crowded room. The fluorescent light is a harsh white, and your rival smiles across the table. He mocks the work you finished yesterday. This laughter of others feels like a blade. You feel a sharp heat in the chest. Your mouth opens to defend the win. But the answer dies inside you. The tongue feels made of lead. The words remain prisoners of the throat. You offer a weak and quiet smile. You look down at the polished wood. The win is gone. But this residue of defeat poisons the air. And a massive price of defeat was paid today. On the other side, the tribe saw a man who gave ground, who lost nerve. You looked like easy prey in public. And in biology, this is the beginning of amygdala hostage crisis. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford studied this phenomenon. He noted that the amygdala is an internal alarm system. It ignores a professional reputation. It ignores years of hard work. It only values a pulse. It only values survival. Under social threat, the biological system meets a horrible glitch. The brain mistakes social threat as personal threat. It reads a harmless person like an apex predator. It treats a joke like a blow. It treats a mock like an blast. Energy leaves the thinking brain instantly. Power flows into legs and fists. The body prepares for a physical massacre, but the mouth is physically unable to speak. In a war, logic is only a luxury. The pilot, which is the prefrontal cortex, dies, and the survival instincts acquire the control. You stand there in a biological freeze. Surprisingly, evolution prefers a silent survivor. It rejects a witty and dead corpse. Ancient tribes were operated by this brutal law. You challenge a leader, you face exile, and exile was considered as same as physical death. This malfunction is fear, and fear dressed as obedience. It keeps you small to stay safe. But in a modern world, being small is seen as children of a lesser god. This is the professional penalty, which is totally invisible. Less talented men now own the room. They are not smarter. They are not more capable, but they possess the floor. They do not let fear of failure invade their mind while you struggle, and your brain shuts you down. It treats your ambition like a threat. It chooses safe silence over risky power. This mindset is bankrupting a career. It keeps you in a neural bunker, while the world takes the prize. The investigation into the silence continues. One day, an argument starts at home. The air is thick, and the room feels small. Your partner strikes your sensitive nerve. You want to speak. You want to speak truth. And words are also right there. But the tongue feels heavy. It feels like cold lead. The jaw refuses to move, and you look at the ground. You swallow the fire. The residue of failure burns you, and burns you totally. It ruins the entire night. Why does the speech center fail? Meet Broca's area. This is the internal orator. It sits in the frontal lobe of your brain. It turns thoughts into speech, but it is sensitive to pressure. Andrew Huberman mapped this neural lag. And he noticed that stress floods the skull with norepinephrine. This chemical is a signal jammer. It scrambles the path to the tongue. The mind holds the answer. But the governor locked the gate. Interestingly, this is an autonomic siege. Bessel van der Kolk also observed this phenomenon. He noticed high stress physically mutes the mind. The thinking brain is too slow, the reactive brain is too fast, and you are caught in the gap. And a king without a power has no voice. Your silence signals an internal surrender, but the world assumes a lack of courage. They assume you are a follower. The social penalty is lost respect. This malfunction steals your power. You lose the moment of impact. You lose the respect of the room. Biology became traitor to your ambition. And van der Kolk calls this speechless terror. The lizard brain demands a freeze. The orator is gagged and bound. It keeps answers in the basement until the house is already burnt. The professional penalty is a ceiling on your growth. High-value rooms require a sharp tongue. The malfunction is bankrupting your future. The investigation into the stuttering mind continues. Imagine an important negotiation begins, and the opponent makes a false claim, and he waits for a response. The air in the room feels thin. It smells of cold ambition. You have the data to crush him. The truth sits behind the teeth, but your jaw turns to stone. The mind presents a void, and the logic engine has stalled. The residue of this hesitation cost a fortune. You watch the deal slide away. You feel the power tilt. Scientifically, this is called biological ambush. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel laureate, mapped this lag. He identified two systems, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, reactive, and impulsive. System 2 is slow, measured, and deliberate. Under social threat, System 1 takes control. It views a debate as a physical massacre. It prepares the muscles to run or strike. It floods the veins with brutal heat. Critically, it drains power from the strategic center, which is brain. Blood leaves the prefrontal cortex. Blood enters the fists. The mind prefers a safe silence. It rejects a risky victory. This is a neural resource grab. The professional penalty is a loss of status, and rivals see a man with no backbone. They see a man who lacks edge. Alfred Adler observed this social stutter. Position is won in seconds and lost in milliseconds. This malfunction is currently bankrupting your future. The anterior cingulate cortex of brain monitors the conflict. It detects this error in real time, but it cannot force the gears to turn. It watches you fail. It records the humiliation in high definition. You stay the smartest person in the room, but you are also the easiest to ignore. Synaptic sabotage is stealing that seat. The financial penalty is a lower income bracket. Hesitant men do not sign the big contracts. They only execute the work for others. The malfunction sets a hard limit. It keeps the architect well below his rank, and the investigation continues. Imagine, you are standing in a dark kitchen. The refrigerator hums in the corner. The floor tiles feel like ice, and the wall clock ticks with mechanical precision. Your partner stands across the counter and speaks a sharp sentence. The words feel like a sword and hit your sensitive nerve. The pulse quickens in the neck. You want to roar with truth. You want to set a hard boundary. You want to set a red line, but your jaw is locked, physically locked, and the throat feels full of dry sand. The mouth remains closed. The eyes look at the floor. The air in the room becomes unbreathable. The partner walks away. The footsteps fade down the hallway. And you remain in the cold light. The residue of cowardice poisons the heart. In biology, it is called vagal shutdown. Dr. Stephen Porges documented this specific state. It is a biological emergency brake. The nervous system enters the dorsal zone. When a threat feels too large, the brain decides victory is impossible. It does not look for wit. It does not look for comebacks. It looks for escapism. It confuses the entire speech center. It forces your body to physically freeze. And this is a biological surrender. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA has also confirmed the weight. The mind processes social rejection, exactly like a physical injury. The brain feels a literal wound. It tries to stop the bleeding. It chooses silence to prevent further pain. It fears a sharp reply will trigger a more violent social attack. This social debt is a lifetime of regret. The perfect line stays hidden. It stays hidden in the mind. The malfunction kills all your charisma. It turns a leader into a hostage. You wait for the pilot to return. But the pilot never had the controls. This is the self-discrepancy trap. E. Torrey Higgins at Columbia had also noted this gap. The ideal self wants to speak, but the actual self wants to stay frozen in fear. This gap between the two creates nausea, and social nausea is a physical reality. The anterior insula of brain activates the fear alarm. Your brain treats a social failure like a piece of rotting toxic food. It wants to purge the memory, but the memory stays, and the mind stays trapped. Ultimately, the cognitive hostage crisis begins. You search for a win that is already gone. The night watches, and the muzzle remains tight until the sun rises. Today, the office door opens again. The air inside is thin. It smells of old coffee and cold ambition. Your rival stands by the window. He wears a look of unearned victory. Yesterday he stole your work, and today he expects your silence. You feel the familiar heat. A sharp pressure hits your chest again. Your words start to die, and your jaw tightens, and the mind seeks a safe exit. But do not run this time. Do not accept the social grave this time. First, calm your body. Your body is a transmitter. It sends constant data to the skull. Amy Cuddy at Harvard studied this connection. She looked at high-stakes performance, and she found that size equals safety. If you sit small, you signal defeat. If you collapse your shoulders, you invite attack. The brain reads your own posture. It concludes that you are the prey. So do not ask for permission, but physically expand your presence now. And pull your shoulders back. Plant your feet into the floor. Make your body take up more space. Force the nervous system to update. The mind follows the lead of the skin. This is the first biological override. Next, use the strategy of naming. Chris Voss served as an FBI's lead negotiator. He handled kidnappings and high-pressure crises. He used a tool called labeling. Labeling is identifying the internal panic as it rises. But do not fight the feeling. Only name it. Simply name it. Tell the mind, I feel stuck. Tell the mind, I feel the heat in my throat. The moment you label the glitch, it dies, and you move from feeling to observing. The stuttering governor will lose its grip, and the professional reward is immediate power. James Gross at Stanford confirmed the power. He identified a process called cognitive reappraisal. Just read the moment differently. This is not your humiliation. This is not the end of you. It is merely a mistake on his part. Your voice returns. Your voice receives power. Finally, the logic flows into the moment, and you find the words during the heat. But this time, not in the lonely car ride. The residue of victory is finally real. You spoke. You stood. The investigation into your silence is over. Always remember that your mind is a selective historian. It prefers a safe past. It fears a volatile present. But the dossier reveals the truth. The shadow logic is now fully exposed. Delayed wit is actually a biological aftershock. It is a sign of internal surrender. Do not allow the silence to win. The investigation has found the fault. The price of hesitation is your future. The price is your social position. The price is tour professional growth. The price is the man in the mirror. Your inner ghost only speaks in safe mode. It waits for the risk to vanish. It waits for the opponent to leave. Then it mocks you with the perfect line. Your mind actually behaves like an internal secretary. It files the report only after the meeting ends. Do not accept this biological delay. The trial is finished. The evidence is absolute. Wit is not a mysterious gift. It is a result of biological alignment. Align the body to lead the brain. Name the fear to kill the speech lock. The pilot is back in control. The internal rebellion is over. Speak in the light. Rule the moment. Reclaim the words before the opportunity passes. Logic must strike when the fire is hot, not when the ash is cold. Authority has returned. The investigation is over, and the dossier is closed.